It's just like, I guess that is how it's done. And then again this year, he did it to a kid dressed as DJ Marshmallow. Just put it in the bag. Why is he so weird? Even the kid is like, this is not.
You're best friends. You're best friends with a pedophile for 10 years, one time, and the world never forgets it. But yeah, this whole time, Trump already knew he was in the Epstein files, which is a good reminder that if someone's acting guilty, they're probably guilty.
You're not ready for this one. We're diving into the comedy equivalent of a Category 5 tornado as Colin Jost and Josh Johnson absolutely obliterate Trump. Verbally, relax. If you thought late-night TV couldn't get any more chaotic, think again, because these two showed up armed with punchlines, caffeine, and zero chill. Grab your popcorn, secure your wig, and brace yourself. This roast session gets so intense that even the teleprompter needed therapy.
A pharmaceutical executive collapsed in the Oval Office on Thursday. And speaking of pharmaceuticals, whatever they've got Trump on, I want some. Because just look how chill he is during all of this. He's just standing.
Yesterday, the Epstein story exploded back into the national conversation when House Democrats released 3 emails that Jeffrey Epstein wrote about his BFF, Donald Trump. But Donald Trump has the entirety of the GOP behind him. And you know these world-class strategists have a plan for getting this story off.
Colin Jost and Josh Johnson didn't show up to play nice. They walked on stage like human wrecking balls made of sheer sarcasm and silent judgment. The air practically begged them to behave, and they immediately refused out of principle. The crowd sensed what was coming, the way people sense a microwave explosion seconds before it happens.
Just put it in the bag. Why is he so weird? Even the kid is like, this is not. It's kind of an embodiment of his entire presidency because it's just a violation of norms that no other president or person has ever conceived of. Like, who's ever thought, I should put the candy on the kid's head? My favorite part, though, was when Trump and Melania made a grand entrance to this song.
The moment Trump's name floated into the joke atmosphere, time slowed down like a dramatic soap opera zoom-in. Josh sharpened his humor like a chef preparing knives for a buffet of chaos. Colin followed behind like a tax auditor who genuinely enjoys his job. The roast wasn't just warming up. Global warming wished it had that level of heat.
But the good news for Trump is this is America. We don't read. As long as there's no video coming out, he should be A-OK.
CNN exclusive. Newly uncovered photos and video offers a new look at President Trump's past ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
Here you see the two, the opening of the Harley-Davidson Cafe. Months later, some new photos reveal Epstein walking into the
Each punchline landed with the force of 1,000 iPhone update notifications appearing at once. Trump wasn't physically there, yet somehow he spiritually aged 20 years in 90 seconds. Every joke felt like a door that slammed shut behind him while he forgot why he even entered the room. It was the comedy version of getting dunked on while a stadium crowd shouts but politely pretends they're concerned.
President Trump met with Chinese President Xi Jinping. When asked how the meeting went, Trump said this.
But overall, I guess on the scale of from 0 to 10, with 10 being the best, I would say the meeting was a 12.
I guess Trump just wanted to show China we're still way worse at math. Trump also visited South Korea and was given a gold crown and served beef patties with ketchup for dinner. So they basically got the President of the United States a Happy Meal with a...
The audience didn't laugh so much as they surrendered control of their lungs. The jokes hit so hard that even the stage lighting flickered like it needed medical attention. No one had the courage to blink in case they missed another verbal demolition. Somewhere, a camera operator questioned life choices while still refusing to look away. From that moment forward, the show became less of a performance and more of a clinical trial on whether sarcasm can physically melt someone's reputation. Josh leaned in with a smile so subtle and dangerous it should require licensing. The timing between them was too sharp for coincidence and too chaotic to be planned. It felt like watching two comedians reverse engineer a man's confidence live on stage. Somewhere backstage, the teleprompter questioned whether it needed a therapist. Every time you thought the humor had peaked, another wave arrived like a plot twist in a reality show no one asked for, but everyone secretly enjoys. Trump's decisions took hits like bowling pins on a greased lane, collapsing in record time. The audience didn't even pretend to recover before the next blow landed.
To attend Donald Trump's wedding to Marla Maples. There's also what was found in this review of archival footage from a 1999 Victoria's Secret fashion show, which reveals, as you see, the two men chatting, laughing with one another on the sidelines of that event.
It's getting to the point where it's harder and harder to find a photo of Donald Trump.
The satire grew so aggressive that the studio might legally qualify as a boxing ring. The crowd was losing its mind. The production crew silently prayed for the commercial break, and yet the jokes just kept increasing in altitude. Every comparison stretched reality so far, it needed a stretching warm-up. Every description turned into a linguistic body slam. Nothing was safe. Not the speeches, not the slogans, not the dramatic pauses that demanded applause that never came. Colin pointed out every moment that aged him, and Josh illustrated every decision like a detailed crime scene recreation drawn entirely in comedic disrespect. Each new joke escalated the plot the way adrenaline escalates chaos. The laughter became the soundtrack of downfall, and the set became a grand arena of comedic extinction. No mercy, no grace, no reaching across the aisle. It was pure roast combustion.
On Tuesday, Zohran Mamdani was elected mayor of New York City. He was elected. A lot of Sliwa fans. He was elected mayor despite his opponent Andrew Cuomo receiving endorsements from Donald Trump and Eric Adams, which is like trying to bring a girl home by saying, not to brag, but I have hepatitis B.
Even the stage microphones looked exhausted, picking up punchlines so powerful they felt like subpoenas. The crowd could barely process the carnage as Colin's sarcasm welded itself to Josh's delivery. Every sentence hit like the comedic equivalent of getting body checked by a parade float. Trump's history, speeches, interviews, and eyebrow-raising decisions all sacrificed willingly to the roast gods. Somewhere in the world, a billionaire suddenly felt cold without knowing why. The momentum built with scientific consistency. One joke carried another the way a demolition crew hands off detonation codes. Every decision Trump ever made transformed into a piñata full of humiliation strikes. It was comedy artillery, and nobody reached for a ceasefire.
As Donald Trump, your only hope is to be like, hey, I take pictures with lots of people, all right? I'm in pictures with OJ, Diddy. I'm in pictures with Harvey Weinstein. That's not helping. I'm going to stop.
By the halfway point, even the audience faces looked like people who'd been emotionally kidnapped by humor. The roar of laughter became uncontrollable background noise that no one could dial down. Every transition between jokes was smoother than a bribe disguised as a scholarship fund. Every callback detonated with the force of déjà vu mixed with karma. The cameramen kept zooming in like wildlife documentary narrators trying to capture a predator taking down prey. There was no blood, but there might as well have been confetti made of dignity. Each riff exposed another layer of Trump's past choices, and each revelation got cooked harder than the one before it. It was efficiency, cruelty, and hilarity wrapped in one unstoppable roast engine. Even the moments of silence hit with comedic tension, the kind that makes people instinctively lean back to brace for impact. Every callback rewrote history in real time using nothing but sarcasm and savage commentary. Facts became punchlines, punchlines became timestamps, and timestamps became memes.
The Supreme Court on Friday temporarily allowed the Trump administration to withhold SNAP benefits, including food stamps. And we actually have footage of Trump finding out he does not have to pay the benefits. Trump also reacted to news that Prince Andrew lost the title of prince over ties to Jeffrey Epstein, saying he feels badly for the royal family. Trump even sent Prince Andrew a card to cheer him up.
They didn't slow down, not once. The show turned into a marathon of judgment dressed up as comedy. The entire audience looked like people who walked into a theme park thinking it was mild and discovered it was extreme survival training. Breathing became optional, dignity became fictional, and calmness became extinct. The finale hit with the elegance of a piano falling from a roof. Josh closed it out with pinpoint precision, and Colin sealed it like a cosmic stamp of comedic authority. Whatever was left of Trump's aura evaporated under stage lights hotter than bad PR. The applause rolled in like a legally binding agreement everyone signed without reading. Then, silence. The kind of silence that follows a televised explosion of reputation. The kind of silence that says loudly, nothing is ever going to be the same after this. The kind of silence that gives history a moment to write notes it will absolutely use later. And just like that, the show moved on as if nothing catastrophic had occurred. The crowd was forever changed, the microphones needed a vacation, and Trump's public image felt like it went through a blender on turbo mode. Comedy didn't just win that night. Comedy claimed property rights.
As part of the Republican response to the selective and limited release of emails by the Democrats, Republicans stepped up and put out 20,000 pages of Jeffrey Epstein-related documents.
Oh, no! This is the downside of your people really having your back, because they were basically like, he got nothing to hide. Here's 20,000 more emails. Don't you people know anything about a cover-up? This is like trying to hide pissing yourself by
The roast aftermath didn't settle. It vibrated through the room like someone detonated a sarcasm nuke powered entirely by ego commentary. People staggered around with the same expression as passengers who boarded a calm cruise and instead survived a tornado at sea. The applause didn't sound enthusiastic. It sounded traumatized, like the audience was clapping out of self-defense while their brains rebooted. Whatever confidence Trump arrived with slipped out a side door like a guilty raccoon fleeing a tipped-over trash can. Colin Jost didn't wait for oxygen levels to return to safe levels. He tossed in another joke with the calm, polite face of a man who knows he's about to commit comedic arson and has already made peace with it. The punchline hit so cleanly it could have been used to trim diamonds. Alec Baldwin followed immediately with a line so theatrically savage it felt like lawyers somewhere should have been notified in advance. Reality didn't even have time to flinch. The room didn't recover gradually. It snapped back into chaos like someone leaned on a big red button labeled "Unleash More Humiliation." Laughter surged again. Not regular human laughter, but the kind that makes people grab the chair in front of them like they're experiencing turbulence. Sound ricocheted off the walls with enough force to frighten birds 2 neighborhoods away. There was no mercy, only momentum.
Well, the longest government shutdown in history finally ended after 43 days. And you know, first day back in the office, you got to check all those piled up emails. House Democrats released an email written by Jeffrey Epstein in which he claims that Donald Trump, quote, knew about the girls. It's bombshell news that legal experts are calling
Every detail that once tried to impress the world got stripped down and repurposed like scrap metal turned into comedic artillery. Colin delivered sarcasm with the precision of a surgeon who did his residency in pettiness. Josh brought the kind of calm delivery that always precedes absolute mayhem. Together, they created the theatrical equivalent of flipping every switch in the control room and letting fate decide the rest. Even the chairs looked tired, like they had been forced to hold up people laughing beyond human capacity. The stage floor quietly begged for mercy, as if the weight of humor alone were too much pressure to bear. The sound technician probably reconsidered life choices while adjusting microphones that were picking up comedy shockwaves. Every camera angle caught expressions that will haunt highlight reels forever. The momentum became unstoppable, like a snowball of mockery rolling downhill through a city of fragile egos and press conferences. Anything connected to Trump's decisions turned into ammo faster than Wi-Fi loads a scandal headline. History books probably flinched somewhere in the distance, sensing rewrites on the horizon. Even the most loyal supporters would have paused the DVR just to emotionally hydrate.
I just have to say, you know, in general, I don't really believe in conspiracies because as a member of the Illuminati, I know that we, the lizard people, control everything. And it's really hard to believe that Trump was so oblivious that he didn't notice his good friend was running an international pedophile ring. Though I guess Trump is the one guy on earth who thinks YMCA is a straight animal.
The tension wasn't even down yet before Colin's follow-up hit like a poetic ambush, practically vaporizing the last scraps of seriousness in the room. Every sentence twisted reality into a carnival of dramatic irony. Trump's reputation sat in the metaphorical corner, wishing for an early dismissal slip. And then came the storytelling segment, the portion of the roast where truth and exaggeration fuse into pure entertainment chaos. Every memory turned into a comedic crime scene blueprint, and every decision transformed into a revelation of accidental self-sabotage. Josh narrated moments like cautionary tales disguised as jokes, while Colin fired commentary like a sniper armed with sarcasm rounds instead of bullets. The audience couldn't escape even if they wanted to. The laughter pulled them deeper, like quicksand made of amusement. Makeup ran, wigs loosened, people gave up on trying to appear composed. The show evolved into a full-scale comedic demolition derby, with Trump's decisions being the cars and the arena being their last known location. At that point, fact-checking became irrelevant. The emotional accuracy was all that mattered, and the emotional accuracy was catastrophic.
Trump's people spent a year saying there are no Epstein files. Now there's 20,000 pages, and those still aren't the files. What happened? There's now more pages of Trump Epstein lore than Batman and Superman crossover. And look, these 20,000 pages weren't all about crimes. A lot of it was just weird bro shit about women that they dated.
Epstein says in these emails that he could produce photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen. Epstein claims that he and Trump had dated the same woman back in the 1990s, saying, my 20-year-old girlfriend in 1993 that after 2 years I gave to Donald.
Man, I'm glad Hillary.
Nothing deflated faster than the illusion of strategic genius. Every story Trump ever shared became a comedic booby trap that detonated on contact. Colin and Josh didn't just dismantle him, they reorganized the rubble alphabetically. Every transition between segments arrived like a hurricane wrapped in a tuxedo. No beat was wasted, no punchline was left simmering, no jab was too minor to sharpen. They didn't roast the image, they sandblasted the myth. By the time the next segment arrived, Trump's public persona felt like a before and after ad where the after picture got red circled for being unrecognizable. The energy in the room transformed from laughter to disbelief to laughter all over again. Even the HVAC system worked overtime like it knew heat wasn't a metaphor anymore. The spotlight looked exhausted but refused to dim out of respect for the carnage. It was a once-in-a-lifetime demolition you could feel in your teeth. The final stretch turned into a victory lap of sarcasm, pettiness, and theatrical overkill. Josh delivered closing jokes that wrapped the roast with enough force to echo through political commentary for years. Colin sealed the night with comedic finesse so sharp it could slice marble into confetti. Trump's public image didn't just take damage, it donated itself voluntarily to the Museum of Regret.